Hey everyone, it's me again, the Grey Man, for about the 10th time today with another video. This is my first stream for a while. This is one of my comic memory streams where I chat to someone from the comic community and they share some memories of me or some of their, the sort of any memories basically associated with any of their comic books. And I'm joined by, this is Aynimalyi. I'm never too sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And Aynimalyi. Okay. I mean, have you sort of given the story as why you're called Aynimalyi? Is that like an anagram, or is that a compound word, or?
It's actually, you know what it is? It's a random name that was generated in a game that I used to play. It's just like I was creating a new character, and this name was just randomly generated. And I said, you know what? That's kind of cool. And I stuck with it. So I've been using it for quite a long time now.
Right, cool. What kind of game was that then? Like a fantasy game or something like that?
That was EverQuest, actually. I don't know if you ever heard of that or played that, but
it sounds like an online fantasy game or something like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's kind of pre World of Warcraft. So
right,
yeah,
old school.
Yeah, very old school.
Yeah. Cool. So, what part of America are you in?
I am in South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah,
never too sure with a lot of the American channels. Never too sure what part of the world they're from.
Yeah,
it's a big country after all.
It is a pretty big country, but that's okay though. I mean, I've been fortunate enough. I've been to like every single state except for Hawaii. Okay. So I've gotten around quite a bit, and it's great talking to people from different places that I've been, and having something to relate with everybody. So no matter who the person is I've met, there's something about this state that I've witnessed or seen that I can share with them, and I like that a lot. So
yeah, what is it? Why you've been around so much? For work, or you just got a traveling bug? You like to see places?
A lot of it just came because, I met a girl. My mother said that I would never move out of Boston. Like my mother said, I'd live in Boston forever. She said, "You're not going anywhere ever," and I pretty much agree with her. But then I met a girl. And so I moved to Georgia to see her, and we just did a lot of traveling, and I actually did work for a little while in Colorado, but after we left there, we were like, where do we want to go next? So we had the time and the resources to kind of just go about and do what we wanted to do for a while. So we took advantage of that. So, and I'm glad we did. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Girls do have a way of changing things, don't they?
Oh, they change everything. So that's how I pretty much base 90% of my life decisions. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Right, so we're going to talk about comic books. How have you been waiting for? When did you remember your first comic book?
Actually, I have my first comic book. Do you want to see it? Oh.
Yeah, let's start with that then as your first memory then, if you can remember what your first one was. Tell us the story. When did you pick it up? What was your thoughts when you picked it up? Let me put you on full screen as well, so we can get a good look at it. Okay, Marvel Team Up.
Yep.
What number's that?
Beauty. It's number 56.
Yeah.
So, yep. Spider-Man, Daredevil. Cool. Yep.
Yeah, two good characters. Electro, classic villain.
Yeah, it has Blizzard in it as well. So,
okay, cool.
Every time I see this, it kind of chokes me up. But this, somebody gave me this. We were living in Virginia at the time, and our house had burnt down. And we went to stay with some friends, and one of them gave me this comic book. He gave me a couple, but this is the only one that I was able to keep. And I've had it for a long time. Like I never even collected comics. I just had a couple of comics that I always had, and this is one of them. And so I left it through. Yeah.
You'd lost everything in the fire, I suppose, or a lot of. So that was like a comfort blanket for you at the time, was it?
In a way, it didn't really. I think at the time I didn't really know the gravity of the fire because I was like 9, I think, or 10 at the time. So I knew it was tragic, but it really hadn't my brain was too adolescent to really take in the scope of the whole thing, But they were just trying to be really nice people. They were neighbors, I believe, if I remember correctly. And they just took us in until we can get things kind of straightened out. And Yeah, so this book means a lot to me. So I actually, I thought I lost this book, and then a couple years ago, I ran into a friend of mine, and he was like, "Dude, you left a backpack at my house last time you were there." Yeah, and he's like, "I still have it." I said, "Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah, hell yeah." So I got it, and this was actually inside of there. It just rolled up with a rubber band, and I was so happy to have it back. Yeah, it took a little water damage, and
I thought I saw a bit of damage.
Yeah. But I love this book. This is such a great book. I mean, this is like everything comics is about. You know what I mean? Just a good old fashioned fight. Not really a lot of story. You know what I'm saying?
A bit of action, good bit of action. That's when you're like a kid, and that's what you want. You want to like lazy action, and your characters to be simple, and just to get down to the good guys, bad guys. You don't need like
nice story.
Shades of grey. Yeah, basically.
But look at this is what made me fall in love with Spider-Man is these panels here.
Yeah,
like he didn't even take time to change into his suit. He's just like, I'm going to kick everybody's ass while I change into my suit. So he's changing and fighting at the same time. It's just really, it's just really great. Yeah, this really got my attention, and this made me just love the idea of comics.
Who was the artist on that one?
This is Sal Buscema, if I say that last name right, and Dave Hunt. So,
are you very much into the artists, or is the artist important to you on a book, or is it one of the things you don't pay much attention to as long as the story is good?
It doesn't matter to me as long as they put together a good story. I don't really. I mean, I have my favorites. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And art is definitely better like now than it is back then. You know what I'm saying? Like back then it was just more rough, and not that it's bad. No, but I like the glossy pages now.
Right, I get you. It's the quality of the paper more than the quality of the art you're talking about there. I think I prefer the old art, to be honest. I prefer the old art because it's easy to see what's going on. Sometimes in the more modern books with like massive splash pages and like weird angles and that, it's hard to sometimes tell what's actually happening in the story. Well, I always found that the old art style was able to tell the story in a lot more simplistic and easy to understand way. Some of the new books,
it's definitely much neater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not hard to follow. You understand that where the panels are going. And I think today, though, for me, anyways, I think artists today, I can tell them apart a lot better. They're a little bit more distinct. I think I can't tell you who drew what in this book. All I know is 2 people drew in the book. You know what I'm saying? So. But it's still a great book no matter what. This is like, I actually might I know I made a joke in my last video about cleaning comics with a washing machine, but I actually a guy did offer to clean this up and press it for me because I do want to send it in the CGC, and I think it's about time. I don't have any books in plastic at all, so it'll be. I've submitted books before that I've sold, but I don't have any in my personal collection, so this will be the first book I actually put out my own personal collection. I just think it's about time I saved it. So
so you just want to slab it just for the fact it's your first comic and you want to keep it for prosperity kind of thing.
Exactly.
A sentimental slab rather than one that's worth a lot of money, I should think.
Exactly. I mean, the book itself is maybe $5 book. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probably depends on who wants it, but to me, it's priceless. So
yeah, exactly. With the water damage, it's probably only worth like $1 or something. But yeah, I know what you mean.
probably. I most likely get a 0.5, I think, from CGC. I mean, it's got tape, it's got glue. I wrote in it, so But
the most important thing that it's got though is it's got memories. That's the most important thing. It may have
really
tape, it may have glue, it may have water damage, but it's got memories, and that's what matters.
Yep. I absolutely love it, and I'm so proud that I actually still have it. That's a big deal to me. So
yeah, definitely. So when you got that comic book, so you said you wasn't collecting at that time when you got it, but did that kick off or spark an interest in comics at that time, or did that come later on when you got more into them?
I always had an interest, but I never had the funds. So I lived when we finally settled down, I lived in a small town. There was a peninsula on the water, and it was very difficult for us to get anywhere. Like there was no such thing as an LCS for me. I mean, I had to go all the way to Boston, or pretty much to Boston if I wanted to think about getting a book. And And as a kid with no money, that gets expensive because I got to take a bus. I need to get a ride to the next town so I can catch a bus to the next major city. And then, I have to so by the time I did start getting some money, the first time I went into town, I actually went into town to buy some albums. Like I was really into music back then. And on my way to the music store, I happened to pass by a comic book store. And I said, I'm going to go in for a minute. And so I went and got my cassette tapes, and I came back and I went inside. And I'm going to maybe look at some Spider-Man books. But I seen this book here on the wall.
Okay, I've not seen that before. Is that your second memory you're showing me now, or?
Yeah,
cool.
So it's kind of a good lead in there. But
Harriet Comics.
Yeah, this is like English comics or something. I don't know. So
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, this is
Never heard of Red Fox. She looks like I can understand where a young boy may be interested in buying her book though.
Oh yeah, I mean, check it out. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like the art in it is really not that good at all.
Yeah, she's got.
And the artist's name is just Fox. That's his name. Like I don't know nothing about the guy.
Okay. Yeah,
I've never heard about him after this. It's just all I know is Harry Comics were out of England. So
I've never heard of them. Being from England, I thought would have heard of them. Let's have a look at the artwork in there. There's so many only comics we saw like that in the UK were like American comics.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like
black and white.
I want to say this is like 87, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe. But yeah, it's really not that bad. And it's actually a really good story. But I didn't know anything about comics back then, so I didn't even know what I was buying. I just grabbed the first Spider-Man I saw, and I grabbed this.
Cover by.
Yeah, and but I really liked it. It was like it has like Merlin, and it has Egyptian gods, and she's kind of cool. I didn't know it, but it's kind of a spoof on Conan. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time though when I'm buying it, because I didn't know, like, other than the movie, I didn't know who the hell Conan was. I didn't even know he had a comic book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I guess there's a bit Red Sonja in there as well, isn't there? Red Fox, Red Sonja, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can, as you read the stories, you kind of you can start to it's funny because this book here, like later on, I'd find out like that this book was actually plagiarized by somebody. I forget who. But the main villain in this book here was actually stolen by another story. I wish I could remember who it was now, but I'll have to look it up. I have to look it up and do a video on it sometime. But
did you get any more of that Red Fox character? Was that the only one you ever managed to pick up?
It's the only one I have on me right now. I actually started buying some new copies of the first issue just because I want to have something that's really crisp, because they're really they're not like super hard to find. But finding a good clean copy where, it's really difficult. Like even this one, you see all the spines all broken up already and stuff, which is not a big deal to me. But it's one of those comics that I want to send into CGC for, like, memory reasons and stuff, Yeah. But it's only 20 issues, and they have 2 trades for it. The first one called the Book of Red Fox or something like that. And the great thing about this is the last issue. It ended on issue number 20. Because the guy who was writing it, I think his wife got sick, so he wasn't going to be able to finish the last issue. And Neil Gaiman actually stepped in and wrote the last issue. So that was my introduction to him, and he would become he is my favorite author right now.
So is that before he became big in America?
Exactly. Yeah. Before I had heard of him, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So all I remember is I walked into the comic book store and I'm like, hey. Like I picked up my Red Fox and a couple other things, and the guy's like, "Dude, that's going to be the last issue." And I thought he meant he like wasn't ordering them anymore. So I was like, "Well, how can I order it?" You know what I'm saying? And he's like, "No, dude, they're canceling the series. The writer not doing stuff anymore." But
did you never come back to do any in the future, or do another comic in the future? Or
the only other thing I could find from this writer and this artist is I can't remember the name of the book. But it was a series they were doing just previous to that, which I got a couple copies of it one time, but I don't remember what happened to them. They're probably in a box somewhere. But I don't know if they just did something independent. I don't know like what the deal was. Like there was no information back then, you know.
No, you couldn't look up on
we
the
didn't know, you know.
Yeah, you couldn't look up stuff up on the internet, and there probably wasn't any wizards around then, was there? I'm not even sure if wizards were around then.
Yeah.
Well, I've never even heard of Harrier Comics. Do you know if they had any other titles?
They must have. They must have. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them. I don't think I remember seeing that name around. So I'm from the UK, but
they get Titan distributors.
Oh right, yeah, okay, yeah. Titan did all the like 2000 AD and stuff like that. Titan were a big distribution company, but yeah, I don't remember ever seeing that comic at all. Not in that kind of, because it looks exactly like the same kind of format size as an American comic book, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
But most of the UK ones weren't that sort of size. They were like a bit bigger and normally on different sort of paper sort of stock and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us. I've never heard of that one.
It's I think it's a great read, and it's like I said, it's only 2 volumes of a trade, and and you could probably pick them up for like probably like $3 a piece if you really wanted to, you know. But it's a fun little story, and if you know stuff about like Conan and stuff like that, you kind of appreciate, you know, what they did and the humor and stuff like that, which is fun. So
yeah. So it's like a Conan parody, but kind of set in Merlin world, is it? Like you said, Merlin's in there and that.
Yeah, well, they don't actually call him Merlin, but you know it's Merlin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like they don't call the Egyptian god by name either, but you know who it is. And
right, yeah. So
and then
like
introduced a couple
of that kind of a girl.
Yeah. I mean,
or homage or something like that, maybe.
Story ever told, but yeah. So that's so that's my second comic book memory, and it really turned me on to Neil Gaiman. It really helped me like discover Neil Gaiman, which is probably more important to me than the comic book. You know, I love that guy. So
did you carry on like buying like indies and lesser known books like as you move forwards? Was that like a first foray into like an indie kind of comic? Did you carry on getting lots more, or did you go to DC and Marvel after that, or what was your collecting like?
You know, my collection was. I think I was buying more indie comics back then. Like even today, like I'm kind of like I'm not I like superhero comics, you know. But there's only certain superheroes that I like, and there's only certain ones I'm gonna go out of my way. Like I always buy Spider-Man no matter what. I just love Spider-Man. It's always been my thing. Daredevil's a close second. Luckily right now, Daredevil's like.
Oh, are you frozen?
In comics. No, am I?
You froze for a second. I didn't catch what you said. Yeah, you were all right. And then you suddenly went dead for me anyway. You was talking about Daredevil, and then it kind of for me.
Oh yeah, I think I was just saying that Daredevil was is a close second behind Spider-Man for me. But I'm not into like other superheroes. Yeah. Like I'm not like I like Batman, but I like Michael Keaton Batman, if that makes any sense. You know. I like I don't like Superman and Green Lantern, or I don't like superheroes that feel overpowered to me, and that's just me. You know what I'm saying? So I like superheroes that I can relate to. Here. Yeah, street level.
So street level kind of character. Yeah. There's a lot of people I think who have. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who probably do dig that kind of level, because you know you can understand when you're punching people and kicking people and all that martial arts or whatever, rather than like moving planets and and having a magic ring that can do anything, that kind of stuff. I can understand why. Yeah, I like the big powered heroes as well, but I can understand why people might be just into the street level ones also.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're bad or anything else like that. You know what I'm saying? But when you put something in front of me that seems like impossible to beat, it's like, why even bother? You know what I'm saying? So, and sometimes it's the way I feel.
Personal preference, mate. That's all it is. Everything's personal preference. Got a few people in the chat here watching us. Few faces. I'm not sure. Don't know this guy, but thanks for coming in. Do you know this chap?
Oh yeah, that's my buddy. That's my.
That explains it. That explains it.
That's Chris. You've seen him on my live show with me.
So,
Hey, Slot, Spider-Man Collectibles, Captain Comics.
So, what was your favorite indie comics back then, other than Red Fox? Was there like, was you a Turtle Man or anything like that?
No, no, and I wish I was, because I actually had the opportunity at one time to like buy a first print of the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really into it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
even though the guy kept saying, "Dude, you should invest in this. You should invest in this," and I regret not doing it. I should have, but there's a lot of books I actually gave up. I was into a lot of Vertigo's type stuff. I liked some of the Star Wars comic that was coming across back then. Sandman would eventually come out, and I'd be really into that. So anything that was dark and it dealt with death, I really was into for some reason. That was just more the phase I was in my life. I still read a lot of stuff. I mean, there wasn't anything I was unwilling to read. So as long as I had the money, I would buy just about anything my LCS suggested. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and that kind of Vertigo stuff was a kind of like a maturer read as well. So less like superhero punch and more like sort of cerebral kind of storytelling.
Yeah. And that's just where I was in my life at the time too, So
yeah,
and I chased anything with Neil Gaiman. After a while, I chased anything with like Sam Keith, and then later on like Jim Lee, and then Scott Campbell, and so I fluctuate. I move around. I'll catch on to an artist or a story or a character or even a premise.
Yeah,
I'll kind of run with that for a while, and I'm pretty good about keeping blinders up. I know some people, when they start reading something, have to buy it like all the time, every time, and they don't diverge away often. And I understand that feeling, because I'm that way with Spider-Man. I just buy it, even if the story is not great at the time. Just had to have it because I want to have it. You know what I'm saying? I know I'll regret not getting it, but but I was pretty good at keeping focused. And I felt like I had a really strong collection for a long time too, and that was back in the days like we would carry our long boxes to the LCS and show them off to each other because we didn't have, you know what I'm saying? So it was a big deal to go when new books are out, and you didn't just go to buy books. You know what I mean? You were bringing other books that you may have found somewhere, or you might have been to another comic book shop and want to show off what you got. It was pretty cool.
Did you have like any swap sessions or anything like that? Where you met up or?
Yeah, so the comic book place that I originally started going to ended up closing down. They got bought out by New England Comics, and before they got bought out, I was I was doing playing Magic at the time too, and we had a club there, and the guy at New England Comics wanted me to bring the club over to his place, which I did, and one of the other guys that we were there with, he actually started up a swap, and we actually had a long box just for our club, and it was like one of those give a comic, take a comic type things, and
so that was always fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So
yeah. So was this still a car ride and a bus ride away?
Well, yeah, I keep a lot of stuff in storage. My where I live is really small. I mean, it's a tiny place, and I'm okay with that. I get a lot of land, and the land is more important to me. But yeah, my girlfriend wasn't going to go for us having long boxes of furniture, so I had to start moving some stuff out and put it in storage. But it's okay because I don't deal a lot with my comics. I try to just preserve them the best I can and hold on to them for later. A lot of comics I have are not to keep. I mean, I intend to sell them. And my thing is, I have a feeling comic books not going to be the same in the future, or a lot more things are going to come out, digitally, etc. And I have a feeling comic books will eventually not be a thing of the past so much. It's just different from what we are used to now. And so I think they'll have a lot more value then. And that's what I'm going to try to like start moving things. So
let's hope so.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
So, do you want to move on to your next comic?
Yeah. Actually,
exactly. So we have to hope they're going to be worth some money.
Yep.
More modern
So
one.
everybody knows that I love
Spider-Man.
this comic.
Yeah.
Yep. This is probably the greatest comic ever written.
A few people have mentioned that to me.
I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I keep saying, but for a long time, Spider-Man didn't get a lot of respect, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd bring up Spider-Man, and people like name like 10 different heroes that could kick Spider-Man's ass, and it really used to get upset me. So, so when this book came out, you know what I'm saying, it put a really different perspective on Spider-Man. You know, seeing it through Dr. Octopus's eyes and stuff like that, it just really changed the scope of Spider-Man in my eyes. And this is also you know, a time when I was learning a lot about myself too. Right. So about, you know, how to be less confrontational and why I should be. And it's so this book actually taught me a lot about you know, maybe why certain superheroes react and do things the way they do. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. I love this book. I love this book.
I was imagining, because like Dr. Octopus is like learning Spider-Man's powers and potential. It's like you're kind of learning it again yourself by going through his voyage of discovering like Spider-Man's powers, potential. You're sort of familiarizing it yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, and he, you know, starts to like there's one part in here where so Doc is like fighting some bad guys, and the bad guys are just being like ridiculous. And he's like, I don't know how Spider-Man puts up with this shit. Well, he didn't swear. He didn't swear, but you know what I mean? He was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And so it really gives you a different perspective, like I said. Plus, you know, we finally find out that Spider-Man is every bit as OP as I said he was. And he just holds back a lot because he's a good guy. So, but this is, it didn't stay the best book forever. There's a period there, like between issue 13 and 19, that was good. But just always be one of my favorite Spider-Man books. And
that's always the thing with like any book, though. They always like can soar, like when the concept is new and fresh and something changed. But after a little while, you kind of get burnt out by it a little bit. Then I think that's just difference as much of the writers not being able to keep up the quality, or just the fact that you kind of got used to the premise now, and now you kind of cooled off on it a bit, you know?
Yep. So, and you know, they plus, you know, Slott wasn't writing enough Spider-Man back then anyways, you know what I'm saying? So, but whatever. Great stuff. I'm always happy. Did I show you, like, I got another AOK from Gary B. I don't know if you saw that video though, but he sent me these. He sent me these.
Okay.
Spider-Man team ups.
Okay.
I didn't even know these existed. I saw him in one of his video.
Because that first book you had was a team up, wasn't it? That was a Spider-Man team up, wasn't it? With Daredevil.
Yep.
They say there's not a superior Spider-Man team up with Daredevil. You can come in full circle. Oh, watch out for that, mate. That's the worst.
I know. I realized I just did that.
Don't get taken.
Marvel team up probably overall my favorite book.
I'm trying to collect a full run of that at the moment, but I'm trying to collect full runs of many runs. So I'm a little bit OTT with the amount of runs I'm trying to finish up. So Spider-Man's like your favorite hero. Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite Spider-Man villain though? Have you got a favorite?
Rhino.
Rhino, you like Rhino, yeah?
Oh yeah. I'm a huge. I love Rhino.
I like Rhino. I want that first appearance. I really like, out of all the Spider villains, his first appearance would be the one that I'd like to get. One, because rhinos are my favorite animals anyway, and two, because that's just a cool cover. That him like massive on that cover, taking up the whole cover, really looking imposing. It's just, I think that's a really good cover. That one.
So Rock Paper Scissors, another channel that I watch. He actually busted out his copy of the first appearance of Rhino a couple months ago, but he did a video on it. It was nice to flip back through it. So great book. It's just a great book.
Yeah, one day I hope. What about you? Are you a key collector? Do you get have you got keys? How do you focus your buying? Like mystery boxes, or you have runs that you buy all the time, or?
For a while there, I was doing a lot of mystery boxes. Once I started seeing people on YouTube doing them, I started buying them.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting a lot of books that I wanted. And
that's the thing.
With modern books, I really, because the way I buy books is I wait. Like, I don't run out to the LCS every week and just buy everything just because it's there. I try to wait and sit on it a little bit and see where it's going to go. Because a lot of stories do great for like 1, 2, and 3. And you know what I mean? They kind of fall off from there. And at that point, you probably invested like more money than you wanted to for a book that you're not even not even interested in keeping. So, and I know, you know, sometimes I'll end up paying a little bit more for a book by waiting, but you know what? A lot of times I end up paying less.
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised how many books you can end up getting for less than cover price if you just wait.
Yeah.
And,
well, that's what I do now, because I've stopped buying like regularly in 2013, and I came back in 2018. I'm only buying back issues now, but I try and pick up a few more modern ones. But I wait for a couple of months or a year and then like I picked up like most of the Grant Morrison first run of Green Lantern for like 50p, 75p each, and they're like, you know, if I bought them at the time, they would have been like £3 or £4 or something like that. So I've paid a fraction of the price by waiting for a bit.
Yeah, I have no idea what a quid is, but yeah. but yeah, you know, I don't really. It's whatever I'm into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times I get into something because I hear somebody else talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be watching, you know, some YouTube like Comic Poser, for example, and he'll mention a book and be real excited about it. And he'll get me excited about it, and I'll kind of look into it that way. And plus, there's a lot of ways to get books too. You know, if you haven't got a lot of money, like I tell people all the time, man, go, like, I got a great library near me, and they have more graphic novels in the young adult section than they do regular books. So, you know, if you're strapped for money and you want to read comics, you want to get caught up in some stories, hit up your library, support your local library. That's what they're there for. You know what I'm saying? But they're carrying this stuff now, so we may as well take advantage of it. You know, and
definitely.
So
that's it. Good way of finding out if you actually like a comic as well. Wait for it to come out. I mean, a lot of ones like the Image, I always seem to get them on the like collected trades kind of thing. I never sort of get them from the. I kind of wish I had got them from the comic books, because the first comic books are worth a lot of money now. But I never really picked them up. I always got the trades. I never really saw that many indie comics though. I've always like Marvel and DC the only I ever saw, and like stuff like Walking Dead, Saga, and all that. I never saw a comic book. I only ever saw the trades. So that's how I ended up getting them.
Yep. But yeah, I do.
So have you got?
I get more trades now, and I do a lot more stuff online. Like I have a lot of digital stuff now too, and I don't know, some people are embarrassed by that, but I'm not. But I like weird stuff. Like this is like a cover I picked up recently. So I realized I was missing it in my collection.
He looks a bit funny body. His body shape's funny in that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? But I love it. So, and it's just Delgado. So yeah, I was looking at something else and I realized I was missing this issue. So yeah, I grabbed it because it's like something I want. So yeah, and I'm not afraid to let go of comics either. So like I did have a couple of 9/8s that I had bought for myself. They weren't submitted. I just bought them. But like 2 months later, I got somebody offered me a collection, and I needed to raise some money, so I wasn't afraid to sell those. I sold those like right away. I'm like, I can always get them again, you know. So yeah, and it was more important for me to get the collection than it was to hold on to a $30 9/8 book, you know. So
yeah, have you got any sort of grail or any sort of main key that you're realistically going for at any point?
So I want a new copy of the first Rhino, obviously. I want to try to get it in at least a 7.0 if I can, which might happen. Somebody actually is trying to help me out with that, and that's the minimum I'm looking for. It depends on price, you know, of course, and everything. But that's like my next big book, and I'm trying to get the nicest copy I can get raw. And I actually want to be able to read it and hold it first before I have it encapsulated. So, I'm on the hunt for that.
Stuck in a plastic prison.
Exactly. I hate the idea of it, but
there is definitely like a good reasoning behind it. Pros and cons, obviously, definitely pros and cons, and you can see both sides of the Slavian argument, kind of thing.
So, and so that's what I'm on. I'm looking for that, and there's actually You want to talk about the next book, and I can tell you about another girl I'm looking for?
Yeah.
All right.
This is the last one, isn't it? It's your fifth one, I believe.
No, it isn't, but it's okay. We're taking a lot of time.
Okay. No, it's fine, mate. It's like I'm really bad at counting these things. I'm always getting it wrong when it comes to counting because I'm too busy enjoying having a chat that I lose track of what number we're on.
It's all about the talk. Plus, I've been showing a couple of different things, but
Gen 13.
So my Gen 13. Yep. Yeah. This is issue 0.
Right.
And I think this is when I really started to fall in love with art.
Right.
When I seen this cover, I was like, "This is awesome." I mean, yeah, it's TNA everywhere, obviously, but I wasn't really. But honestly, it was more about it just was different. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, it was early 90s, and everything was coming out like glossy and pretty, and you know what I'm saying? It was like a real change. Fresh. And
yeah, that image when it first came out seemed like fresh and exciting, didn't it? Like all these bold.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah. I found though, like after a few issues, I kind of thought the stories didn't sort of match the art. I found, so I kind of like grew out of them quite quickly. The image.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the stories over time have not held up well.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But it was, I think though, this really, this time really made me more of a serious collector.
Right.
This is the point in time when I started thinking about things like variants, who was doing the cover, you know what I'm saying? I started paying more attention to like issue numbers and yeah, you know what I mean? So
who is the artist on that one?
This is actually Campbell.
All right.
He did the issue 0. This is the first cover. So and he would become a big favorite of mine. I'm a huge fan of Danger Girl too. So
right.
I think Danger Girl's a great comic. Or was a great comic. So
right. Is Gen 13 your favorite of the Image titles at that time?
Yeah, well, I'm a big Sam Keith person.
Oh, so Max.
Of course, I was reading the Max, but the Max is okay.
I couldn't get on with.
He's better than that. And he wasn't.
I thought.
What's that?
It was a bit bizarre, the Max. Whenever I read it, I was like, "What's going on here?"
It was. So I got it and I enjoyed it for like the first, like 10 or 12 issues. But after that, I just felt like he really like kind of like got off track a little bit. Yeah, and maybe probably just lost interest. I don't know. And so, but it was okay for a while. But it's not so much the storytelling. I love his art. I really get a kick out of it, and so I just like the way he does his. We talked about how like neat, clean panels make the comic easy to read. Well, his panels are not neat and clean. And sometimes it can be hard to follow him around, but I enjoy that. Yeah, I like art that's a little bit different. So I don't want to see the same thing all the time. And I love his Wolverine and his Hulk and actually so the other reason I started collecting Gen 13 is because everybody that I knew at the time was a big X-Men person, and I could not stand the X-Men.
Right.
And I didn't want to start collecting them, and I wanted something that was different that I could just call my own.
Yeah.
And so this is like right at the beginning, so I'm like, I just snagged it up. And
wait, how 90s were Gen 13? They had a member called Grunge, didn't they?
Yeah, that's him right there.
Yeah. That's got to be the epitome of a 90s character, isn't it? Having a character called Grunge.
Yep. So, this is all like, definitely fanfare. You could tell what they were going for and who they're trying to emulate and who their target audience was for almost everything. But that's kind of what made it a brilliant comic, though. At the same time, so this is a really good issue too. The woman,
Fairchild, woman?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, she's the one that grows like to a ridiculous size, and her boobs could take up like one whole panel. So, but
I'm pretty sure I read her in a recent DC comic. Was she brought out by DC? Is that what company was that? What branch of Image was that? It wasn't Wildstorm, was it?
It was Wildstorm, but I think they every now and then they'll like bring her back out or some other, like recently it brought Grifter back out, the Batman, you know what I'm saying? Which is great. I love Grifter too. I think he's a great character.
I thought Grifter was cool.
But I wish, but yeah, like the stuff, just like you said, it just never held up. You know what I'm saying? It's like people know who Gen 13 is, but very few people can actually like tell you what the story's about. I'll name all the characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, all I can remember is Grunge and Fairchild. I was kind of bluffing the rest of it. It's one of the ones I never collected any Gen 13. I don't think. I was Wildcats, Pit, and Savage Dragon was the three Image comics that I collected.
Oh, Savage Dragon was so good for a long time. So that was just another fun comic to read. You didn't have to take it serious. You just read it, enjoyed the artwork. You know, some of the splash pages he did was just incredible.
Yeah, Freak Force. I got Freak Force as well. That was quite cool. It's kind of tied in Savage Dragon.
And that was the like his superhero team, wasn't it?
Yeah, and also I remember the Deadly Duo were quite funny. They only had like a couple of free parts, but they were quite funny. Did you ever read them?
Yes, I have. Oh, yeah.
The guy who went back in time, I can't remember what his name was, the kid or whatever it was, but he went back in time. He went to go to the 70s. He ended up in the 90s. So he'd learned all the 70s kind of lingo and all that kind of stuff. Like when he was like a Booster Gold kind of character, I suppose, in the fact he'd come back from the future, but he'd researched for the wrong time period. I just found that really amusing.
That is amusing. So I like Booster Gold. I think he's a fun character too.
Yeah,
it's just fun to read. You don't have to take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? And I know a couple of people get a little bent out of shape, but I'm like, why, dude? It's just a comic. Relax. So
when I get something, they get too deep and too like serious for their own good. Sometimes I want my comics to be like fairly lighthearted. I want the heroes to win and not to be killed and all that kind of thing. You know, not in my sort of mainstream comics anyway. I don't mind reading the odd comic book like The Authority, whereas loads of people getting killed and all that. It's like this is a different kind of universe. But I kind of like my main kind of reading universe be a bit less like overkill, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. But I'm also a fan of stepping out of continuity too. Like I don't think that people should have to write strictly based on what's been written before. I think it makes comics much more interesting when you can play around a lot more with the characters. You may not like it. If you don't like it, just choose not to read it at that point. But sometimes the same stories just kind of are just the same stories, you know?
Yeah. Right, let's move on to we've got one more to go.
Here we go. So
going up to
so we're on Sam Keith. So the only Spider-Man written by Mr. Sam Keith. Well, actually, he didn't write it; he drew it.
Right.
So, but the guy, this guy Wells, who actually wrote it, writes very similar to Sam. So, and this is a really not only do I appreciate the fact that he did a Spider-Man book, and it's a really good story about Sandman. But I got this. So I talked earlier about I used to play video games. Like that's how my name for my channel came about and everything. So I was at a comic book convention just outside of Boston in Lynn, and Sam Keith was supposed to be there, except he was never there. Like it was back in the day when comic book conventions were kind of shady, and they would make all these promises about certain people that were going to be there, and they'd never show up. And it was like, what can you do about it? You know what I'm saying?
They've already got your money.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I went there because I wanted to get something else autographed by him, and I was in line. I'm talking to the girl in front of me, and I said, I wish he would do some Spider-Man. And she's like, oh, he did do some Spider-Man, and she told me that he did some work on Peter Parker, which I didn't know about.
Okay.
And not only that, but it turns out that she actually was part of my guild in that first MMO that I played. Yeah, so it was really bizarre. Like not only to run into somebody
small world, man, small world.
It was really small, but it was great because when we got back, we were both online, talking about, hey, guess who I just ran into and all this other stuff, But yeah, these aren't the same copies that she gave me, but before she left, she gave me her copies.
That's cool.
Yeah, she said I probably appreciate it more, and she knew I was really bummed out about Sam not being there, but it was great though. It was nice to make it was nice to just be there and run into somebody that like who was a friend, but we always had that fourth wall between us, and after that, a lot of those walls broke down. And like a lot of those people that I were friends with back then, I'm still friends with today, which is not really nice. So
cool.
But,
I remember with I remember when he did Batman, he did really big pointy ears on his Batman, didn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I'm thinking, looking at the Spider-Man, it looks like he's giving him really big eyes. Is it my imagination, or is he giving him really big eyes on those two comic covers?
No, he is. But you know what though? That's back then a lot of people were drawing him with really big eyes. It was
those are huge eyes.
Yeah. But he just I don't know, I just like his style.
Yeah.
But so and that's his Sandman right there. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
that's different. Look at Sandman.
So it's a pretty good story too. I mean, it's a two issue series, and it's pretty good. It just just good times. Good times.
Is Sandman still a good guy? Because he kind of like had a redemption, didn't he? Or has he gone back to being a villain?
Currently, I'm not really 100% sure. So I'd have to. I don't know. I kind of like been up and down. Like I started reading again around issue 45 recently, and getting ready for the whole Kindred thing to happen and stuff like that. But before that, I was really lax on reading into Spider-Man. It just wasn't really that appealing to me. So eventually, I'll go back and binge a lot of the stuff. Plus, every time I bring up Spider-Man, somebody wants to bring up Venom, and it seems like that's all anybody ever wants to talk about. So it's like, sometimes I avoid bringing up certain things because I don't want to. So recently, I tell everybody all the time now that go read Daredevil. Like it's the best read of comics right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. And every time I say that, I usually get one or two things. I either get, dude, have you read Venom? Why have you been reading Venom? And or whatever the indie comic of the week is they want to throw at me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, I'm telling you, Daredevil is a good, solid story right now. It's a good, solid comic. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing out of the world about it. It's pretty good.
So are you kind of like anti-Venom? Is he's like massively spiking popularity sort of rubbed you up the wrong way?
I'm not. No, it's just. So remember we were talking earlier about how I get comics. So for a long time I'm buying mystery boxes.
Yeah.
And dude, so many Venom comics, and it was so hyped beyond belief, and people kept putting values on there that weren't really there.
Yeah.
You'd look on eBay and have 40 people trying to sell 40 copies of a 1 in 50 for like ridiculous money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's value that we think is there, and there might be a couple fools out there who overpay for something, but they're just too much.
Yeah.
Too much after a while, and seeing the same stuff over and over again. And then when the Three Jokers came out, man, every box I was opening like another Three Jokers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wasn't getting enough of stuff that I really wanted. You know what I mean? And I'd get so pissed off because I'd see somebody open a box on YouTube and they get a whole bunch of Spider-Man stuff. I'd be like, hey, what the hell's going on? Why am I not getting that box?
Yeah. I've never got mystery boxes. I think I've done 2 mystery boxes. One was like a box of 100 for £20, 20 quid. Yeah. So it represented a real no loss at all. There was some other ones in there actually, some okay ones, and the others I've used to sort of I've got to sell on at some point and get more of my money back probably. And the other one was like a free comic thing for like £13, something like that. It was like very minimal money, but yeah, I see a lot of people buying like $300 boxes, $100 boxes, $60, whatever, and I'm like, because I think I know what comics I want. Now, if I look at people opening these boxes and there's nothing in there that I'm into, and so to me, it's just like wasting money. But it's not my money, obviously. It's there if they like the comics. There's a lot of people do like the comics, but I think when you've got a big enough collection, you're better off just saving your money and buying exactly the comics that you want.
Yeah, that's where I've been lately. I'm focused more on what I want. I'm focused more on buying collections again. I still love the mystery boxes. Like I'm a gambling man a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's nice to get a little frisson of excitement. And will I get a big key, whatever? Yeah.
So I can understand the thrill is in opening them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem with them is that if to like make your money back or to like recoup some of your money, you have to be quick on trying to move some of those variants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if they don't sell right away, you end up sitting on them. And actually, I ended up exactly. So I ended up selling. I had like a stack of like variants, you know, mostly Venom, and it was like 30 books. But I ended up selling it to a guy who does mystery boxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just easier for me to do that than it was to sit there and keep listing them on eBay trying to, you know, get money. You know what I mean? He made me a fair offer. I'm like, yeah, fucking just make sure I know what mystery box they are so I don't buy it again, you know? That's all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But but I like the thrill of it.
I think you got the spare cash to do it, then it's a good thing to do. And so you've got a chance of getting a big key. But I've kind of like not got lots of ready funds. So I like what money I do have, I'll make sure I buy exactly what comics I need for whatever series I'm trying to work on, you know?
Yep. And that's the other thing too, it becomes expensive after a while.
Yeah.
You know, you're not ordering like one box, you're ordering two because you can save on shipping, and then then you're signing up for subscriptions, so you're getting it sent to you automatically, and it's starting to get a little out of control. And like, you know what's funny is that I don't even like, I'm new to this YouTube thing. Like, but whenever I mention it to somebody, people are always like, "Oh man, how much money do you make on that?" And I'm like, "I don't make any money." I said, it's friggin', I'm like far away from ever like even like being able to think about making any money off YouTube, right? Yeah. But they don't believe me when I say that more people lose money doing YouTube than make money. You know what I mean? It's tough. You got to give up a lot of your time. You know, this filming, editing, you know, being proactive, spending time on social media. You know, the cost of the mystery boxes, the cost of buying new stuff to, you know, have some material for your video. I said all that stuff adds up, man. It's like you got to really be on your game, and it's like it gets ahead of you real quick. So. That's why I'm trying to be slow in my content right now. Yeah. Because I'm trying to get good at it. You know what I mean? I finally got, I started the video I started to shoot today. I'm actually shooting it from 2 camera angles, trying to be a little fancy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, so I'm going to start shooting the mystery box and slot it up. And like I said, I started to get choked up, so I stopped. And I'll finish it up later on. But, you know, all this stuff is really new to me, and I don't really, and like I changed my channel name because I don't want to just be focused right on comics. Like
I thought you had dropped the comics from the name.
Yeah, I want to make sure I can like my channel is a little bit more open ended. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm inspired by like you. I like the content that you do. You know, like whack comics. Yeah, I mean, I like doing different things, and I'm working on a short film that I actually want to put on my channel, which is comic related. You know what I'm saying? Cool. But it's like a big deal to me to do it right and everything. So I'm trying to slow down on my videos and do them a little bit better rather than just I'm throwing stuff out there for a second. That was just kind of crap. But you know, so but it's all good, man. I love YouTube. I love the experience. I love the chance to learn how to do this kind of stuff. I love talking to people like you. You know, it's awesome. You can't beat it. YouTube is the best free entertainment ever. It really is, hands down. Yeah, so
it's like interactive television that we make ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I, you know, and I want to encourage people to do more than just comics themselves. You know what I'm saying? I like when people do different things. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that helps me stay interested and get to know them a little bit better. You know? So
yeah, that's true. So comics are quite recent for me. I've only been doing them for a couple of years, but I've had a big channel for like nearly 15 years. But just putting up whatever the heck I fancy putting up, really. Never really had any focus for it. But it's definitely more comics now than anything.
Mm-hmm. So, because there's a lot to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like I keep telling Farley's Nerd Cave, I want to get him on my channel and just talk music. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, because I have a huge interest in there. And you know, that's one of my things. So, you know, there's a lot more to everybody out there than just comics. And, you know, while you have an audience, if, you know, try a couple of things. You know what I mean? If it doesn't work, you don't have to keep doing it. You know what I mean? But don't be afraid to experiment a little bit and see what does work. So,
all right, mate. You got anything coming up apart from this? Anything else? You got this mystery box you're going to open soon. You got this movie out. How long do you reckon that's going to take you to do this movie then?
Well, I have my goal is try to get it out by February. It's going to be a 3-parter. So I need some help on a part of it from an expert. So I'm waiting to get that help. I'm working on a video right now where I'm going to unbox something from Slotted Up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about, last time I talked about cleaning comics. So this time I'm going to talk about pressing comics. So if you want to learn how to press your comics,
yeah,
you're going to want to tune in.
Is it going to be as helpful as the cleaning one?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I had a good time making it. I like doing the skits more than I like the actual videos. You know what I mean? The skits are fun to me. Doing the video itself, man, I get clumsy. I get nervous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not always comfortable with it.
There's a million channels just showing comic books. If you can bring something different to it as well, you know, like Wack does, and like you did with your cleaning video, then I think that's helps you stand out a little bit as well, doesn't it?
So, but that's I still love my comic book channels. You know what I'm saying? I like seeing what people got for the hauls, what they picked up the dollar bins, mystery boxes. I'm grateful that some people are out there doing them while I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So because I enjoy it a lot, so I watch a lot of that still. So, yeah. But other than that, I don't really have much coming up. So hopefully I'll have that video out in a couple of days and the movie out by then, and we'll see what happens.
Cool. Well, I'm going to bugger off then because we're coming up to an hour now. Cheers for coming on, mate.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me on. It was fun. So
that was cool. Yeah, I'm hoping to sort of do more. And I've kind of been a bit lax. This is the first one I've done for like 2 weeks. I've just been a bit lazy with certain. I need to kind of like create some structure. So I've got like comic chats on one day, maybe music memory chats on another day, band interviews on another day. But I've kind of been a bit lax. But hopefully I'll get back into it in the new year. Anyway, have a Merry Christmas, mate. Merry Christmas and happy COVID-free New Year.
Yep. Let's hope for a better year next year.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Oh, I've just thought, let's get myself on screen so I can wave goodbye to everyone. Cheers for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.